Testing. Testing. All right. Okay, what's going on here? Open. Okay, don't need to do that. And then put the message here. Oh, sign into chat, dang it. All right, almost ready to go. Just gonna sign in. I thought I already did this, but yeah, I guess I didn't. Oh my goodness. All right. Two-step verification. Alright, so now I can do that, and then I can say, please let me know if there is any lag or audio issues. Okay. Thumbs up. Pin. Whoops. All right. I think we're ready. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello, welcome to the Black Ponderer. Oh, hello. Good evening, Neil, Nadia. Hello. Good evening. How's it going? Hopefully we got a level load. Hello, welcome to the Black Ponderer. This is a YouTube channel where we talk about philosophy. You know, if in case you're new, you're watching, later on, and you're just, you're catching the stream, the video on demand, the VOD, and you don't know what the hell the Black Ponderer is we talk about philosophy. Most of the time we talk about philosophical texts. But, to be honest, it's kind of half and half now, right? We either talk about philosophical texts or we just talk about just a concept, philosophical concept, and we just shoot the breeze. Now, these live streams are they're not like a lecture. I'm not talking with you. They're more like a hangout. If you look at the thumbnail, I just get royalty-free pictures of just random lounges and cafes and nightclubs and shit because that's the vibe I'm trying to get here. Imagine we're at a nightclub or a lounge, or maybe it's the evening. It's around this time. You could be watching any time, but maybe late night, you're at the bar, or you're at the back of the club. You're not on the dance floor. Maybe you're at the area where they're shooting pool, but you're not actually shooting pool. You're like in the back, or you're at a table in the corner, and we just chilling, we just talking, and we just shooting the breeze. And that's the vibe we're having here. So today, the topic is let's see, ads, dumbed down content. And I will share what I wrote here for the description. Do you go to clubs in Memphis? Yeah. Oh, by the way, because we, are just hanging out. We're just chilling. You can just talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about. It's fine. I'm not one of those people that are like, look, we got to stay on topic. Usually I'll direct it back to the topic. But we're just hanging out. So yeah, don't feel free to make tangents. It's fine. Do you go to clubs in Memphis? Yeah, no. I go to cafes and lounges. Yeah, more so. Not so much clubs nowadays. I'm trying to think. No, I mostly go to bars and lounges, but there's a lot of clubs in Memphis, but they're pretty damn, they blast that music. They be blasting the music, don't they? Because those are for kids. Those are the people who like to party. Well, no, actually, they do have old, people who are like older than me, like people in their 50s. They got those older clubs. There was the one that I used to go when I went a few times, and I was the youngest person there, even though I'm not like a young person. But it was like an old, and they were just blasting me. They were playing some good live music. But yeah, I usually go to places where it's just more chillax. I'm one of those people who veer off topic sometimes. Okay, cool. Hello, Brian the Lion. If you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me. Wow. Okay. That's cool. The biggest gift from me for you. That's yeah, it would be nice. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll do an online party. I guess it wouldn't be in person, so you probably won't be able to give me the gift. Oh well. Yeah. So this adds dumbed down content. So let me describe the read the description here. Gold Girls behind you. Yeah, yeah. Golden Girls, one of my all-time favorite shows. Did I move my out the way? Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back. One of these days, I'm gonna play down on piano, put down the string. And then Anthony, hello. I realized I never used the main feed on Facebook before for some reason in my whole life. Okay, that's dear. Now we're really going off topic. But, but hey, let's veer it back. It's not a controversial opinion to think ads suck. Most people become generally annoyed by a brief message from our sponsor. Now, a brief message from our sponsor. After the break, we will return to a word from our sponsor. They used to do that a lot in the 90s. And now back to the show. Now a message from a word from these messages. But I don't think they do that much anymore. You're bad. He thought we were on topic. I mean, whatever. I don't know it. Oh, because Facebook is ad central. Right. Yeah. No, that's top. That's on topic. But other than the intentional, flashy, obnoxious, and in-your-face tactics used to quickly grab your attention, what's more detrimental is advertising's effect on content. Content is dumbed down to suit the demands of advertising. Case in point, YouTube monetization. Let's discuss. So let's break that down. So, commercials, which are not really, now we got online ads. But, when I was a little kid, I grew up without the internet. And, we'd have commercials in between the television show. Commercials have always been annoying. I remember one time, because they also can be nostalgic, kind of. So I remember one time, I went on YouTube. On YouTube, they basically have everything on YouTube. They have a lot of shit, and some people will just put a bunch of commercials from a certain era, and they'll just like marathon it. You'll have like 2 hours of just straight up commercials from a specific era. Like I looked at one from the 90s, just like back to back commercials from the 90s, because I thought like, oh, this will be funny. This will make me feel kind of like a kid again. But very quickly, I was watching these commercials, and I got annoyed because I kept on trying to expect. It's funny because I had that like little kid 90s kid feeling again. But I was like expecting the show to come. Like, there was a point where I was like, okay, can the show? But it never came because it was just a string of commercials. It got very annoying very quickly. Like maybe 2 or 3 minutes in, and I'm like, and it's a 3 hour long string of there's these things on YouTube. So that verified like, well, the annoying nature of advertising doesn't overcome the sense of nostalgia. Right? It's kind of funny. Okay, so what's going on? Over the years, people in general don't like to tolerate distractions for why they watch videos. I don't think that's like over the years. I think that's just been a thing. Just in general, right? I know people say like, well, people's attention spans are shorter now, but nobody like being distracted. I don't know. That includes people like me who values timing over time. Okay, okay. Hello, bloody one. Do you think there's such thing as high quality advertisements? No, ones that are more engaging than your over ones. I mean, yeah, I probably. I know like some people say like I know people who say like they're very emotional and they cry very easily. And sometimes they'll watch a commercial and that'll make them cry, like like one of those PETA commercials, or like, or one of those commercials where the grandson runs and hugs his grandpa or something like that. And I guess those are a bit more high quality, but at the end of the day, they're still kind of annoying, to be perfectly honest with you. It's true ads dumb down the population. Yeah, we can. Oh, hello, Banjo. Anthropocene. Oh, some of these. That's a nice one. And then Anthony says, Mint Mobile and Wondershare Filmora are the exception to the rule because I love Ryan Reynolds. Oh, okay. So I guess Ryan. Sometimes celebrities will star in commercials. In the '90s we had a lot of that. I guess that's definitely still a thing today. I specifically remember. I remember there was I guess it's not a thing anymore. You can call collect, which is like people used to use phones on the street, but you'd have to pay. But then you could like call the number collect and you could pass the payment on to somebody else, right? Like the person you're calling. And they had this one service. It was 1-800-collect. And I remember the person that was the spokesperson. It was two people, but I remember one was Alyssa Milano. I think that's her name, Alyssa Milano. She was a little girl in that old sitcom Who's the Boss, which is before my time, but I used to watch the reruns. And then she played in this show called Charmed, which was like a show that was really popular in the '90s, right? Where she was one of three witches. I heard that. Well, but what are they? I'm trying to think. Like, do celebrities make commercials less annoying? I don't think so. I know, like, I saw Taylor Swift with the credit card company. Did she make me want to use a credit card? No. And such and so forth and so on, right? Let's see. I saw a funny meme recently about how when you try the radio station in your car when you are on the road trip and it's 5 minutes of commercials, the special effects and hosts making weird sounds for every song. Yeah, man, I tell you, like, radio commercials are like the worst. Like they're really bad. I really hate radio commercials. That really drove me to public radio, honestly, where at least here in the United States, they don't really have commercials on public radio. They do have their like pledge drives, right? That could get a little monotonous, but they got to pay for it somehow, right? So the pledge, I'd rather listen to a pledge drive than those annoying ass commercials, and then they'll have the underwriting where there'll be a guy saying this show was brought to you by this person, this company, and this thing. But that's better than the annoying ass radio commercials. And then, has anyone seen the documentary series Adam Curtis? One of them is called Hyper. I've never seen that. It talks about the history of PR advertising in the United States. Okay. And then Anthony says, thanks so much for being thoughtful to us, my friend. Life is sometimes hard, but we all usually mean well. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Love your videos and streams on average. Okay, great. Yeah, glad that I'm, yet you appreciate my content. That's great. Yeah, usually people mean well. Yeah, that's true for the most part. There's a very strong argument about how we don't need advertising at all. Well, I mean, we don't. Advertising is just a symptom of capitalism. And do we need capitalism? No. We don't. So, no, we definitely don't need advertising. That's because of the internet. We can search up whatever item we need if we think we need something. Oh, you're saying like even within capitalism, you don't really need advertising? I mean, for the consumer, yeah. But for the person that's selling the product, no, they definitely have to advertise if they want to, to make sure like they get their word out, right? I don't know. I think that's probably a thing. Because there's a lot of people who come out with products and like nobody knows about them. And by the data plan, oh, yep. And then the response. Do not use the internet to look for what I need or want. Anthony doesn't use the internet to look for wow, that's impressive. Because I do. The internet is very useful for that. But hey, that's great that you're able to not use the internet for that. Most of us have everything we need. That's true. Most of us, well, many of us. I mean, that's a good question. I actually would disagree with that. I guess in terms of like survival, like food, shelter, and a lot of us don't have that. Yeah, you're saying like most people do, yeah. But then you start getting into like emotional needs and like psychological needs. I guess Maslow's hierarchy of need, right? And then like you turns out most people don't have what they need, right? So yeah, I don't know. If you're including like emotional needs and psychological needs, I would argue like actually most people do not have what they need, right? And that's one of the great tragedies of our time, right? Let's see. Advertising makes us think we need stuff we don't. Yep. That's even that is like a marketing strategy, isn't it? It's like the customer doesn't know what they want. You need to tell them what they want. I mean, I learned that in like when I took marketing when I was in graduate school. It's like, what is it? Right. So, and then marketers know that too. And they're like, they just make up shit for you to feel like you want. Adds to overconsumption, environmental degradation. Yep. I was just saying we don't need advertising like we don't need capitalism. Capitalism definitely relies on advertisement. Yep. It's true. Anthony says, for some crazy reason, discomfort for truer discipline and survivalism strategies make me happier than even my high maintenance. I'm saying that as someone who takes pride in being high maintenance. Okay. Oh, you're like saying like when you live without, you get the sense of reward. Like if you go camping or something, that provides you with like a greater sense of self. I don't know. Sorry, I'd agree that many people have everything they need in terms of possessions. Yeah, that's true. But then you realize like what people, yeah, I see what you're saying. But it's interesting, right? People, they possess so much stuff and then they still not happy, and then they actually are lost and they're confused. They're like, why am I not satisfied even though they have like everything in terms of material possession? Because like that doesn't meet all of a human's need, right? Yeah, it's crazy. But our materialistic world has made us think like all we need is material possessions, right? Let's see. And then after he says, you push away the 5 people you know the most about and attract the 5 people waiting to be with you the entire time. Okay. In terms of advertising, sales can be good. It just deserves more respect because, to be frank, everyone is a role model for what they believe in, meaning they are a product and selling that very product. Okay, well, that's your point of view. I don't know if sales can be good just as I don't know. I don't know. I think this whole marketing, advertising, sales thing, it's just like just something that was just created because of capitalism, and we don't need any of it. Is it good? Not really, but it's what we have. It's kind of like this kind of is not I wasn't gonna even say necessary evil. It is not it's not necessary. Like it's just something that's there, right? What is it like? It's like it's like it's like stuff that you don't that's bad, but it's just there. Yeah. Which is like I'm trying to think of something that's like that. It's like having to use the bathroom, right? You just have to use the bathroom, right? It's like doing chores, right? I mean, you'd rather not do chores, but you have to do it. I guess some people will say like, well, that keeps you grounded and, it keeps you like, your perspective and I don't know. But, yeah. Shopping is an addiction as well. It doesn't feel the emotional need. Yep. Not gonna lie, it really does make me feel better to live truth. Hopefully it doesn't continue to frustrate or annoy others, and I think advertising YouTube can still be invigorating. Yeah, and I think it'll be even more invigorating without advertising. But yeah, it's basically, I agree. Capitalism is a bit of a scam for what it tells people they need to do or buy. That is true. I have ad blocker on my browser, thank God. I also have ad blocker. I'm finding like ad blocker is becoming less and less effective. I think like the YouTube and like other social media or like the people who run websites, they're becoming more they're starting to figure out how ad blockers work, and they're like finding ways around it. So like my ad blocker is like becoming less and less effective. Although now I notice like I used to have this ad blocker that was completely free. I actually was one of those people that donated, because when they asked like, can you give us some money, please? I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll give you like $5. Like that's like nothing, but I'll give them that. But it was free. But now I notice like this ad blocker that was always free. Now it's like actually charging like, oh, but get our premium service and it'll be more effective. I'm like, oh, I see how it is. But I get it. You got to pay the bills. But it's like, oh, that's why my free version isn't as effective as it used to be, because you're now offering this premium ad blocker that I have to pay for. Okay. Even other political beliefs, including capitalism, could be flawed, just like corporate issues and being dependent on those objects and resources. That's fair. Well, capitalism is I mean, it's flawed, but it's like, the point of capitalism is not like, for quality content. Like capitalism's aim is not quality content. Capitalism is just the point of capitalism is to produce more capital, right? So like it does a very effective job doing that. So is it flawed? Like I mean, it is. There are even when you look at it for like its effectiveness of producing capital, it does still have flaws there, right? And if you read Karl Marx, he'll point that out. Uh, but it's actually highly effective for what it. But I think the problem is people buy into this notion that capitalism creates like quality things or like like art or like good entertainment and or like quality of life, and but that's not the point of like that is not what capitalism does. Right? So if you judge it based off of that, you're like, well, capitalism has all these flaws, but it's like, well, no, because that's not what the point of capitalism is. But people think that's what the point of capitalism is. So we're kind of like people aren't thinking about it in this truthful way. It's kind of interesting. Okay. YouTube was finding a way to get through, but somehow I still don't get ads. Sometimes I do, but it never lasts. Okay, cool. I respect people who pay for YouTube Premium to save time on research for content creation. Return investment makes you get what you pay for, right? It's gonna be a long time before I pay money for YouTube Premium. I'll tell you that right now. I'll tell you that. Like, you ain't doing that. Ad blocker. Well, we could go into that. I opened mine because YouTube is a subsidiary of Google, which is a subsidiary of Alphabet. And Alphabet, like that's a company that just basically mines private data and sells it to corporations. Like that's what that company does. That's what they're using all the money, their profit for. Right? Like if they had like an honorable like business, there's that whole like Google used to have that slogan, "Do no evil," but I think they stopped using that slogan because it was just so hypocritical. Because Google, they'll mine your data, your personal business, and then they just like give it to the governments or like sell it to corporations. That's basically like what they do pretty much, right? So I mean that's why I would never really buy YouTube Premium. And I'm not saying like YouTube offers a great service in terms of like it's a lot of people making cool stuff videos, and that's nice, but let's not deceive ourselves and think like that's Google, that's the ultimate goal of that corporation. Like that's just the way they're conducting business. But really, ultimately, what they're trying to do is like take your private data, right? Right. So that's ultimately what you're paying for, right? So now if they were not doing that, then I'd be more inclined to like actually pay for a premium, but you're doing all this shady ass shit. I'm like, well, fuck that. See, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I keep it real. Same thing with when we were talking about capitalism. Like, you gotta like be honest about what's actually going on. Yeah. I opened mine and it says over 1 million ads have been blocked since it is. So I'm not sure when I did because I believe I got new free one. That's cool. It's good that I'm sure they block a lot now. It's saying over 1 million ads have been for like everybody. Yeah, probably. Probably not for you individually, but maybe. They'll throw you numbers left and right. Like, I don't really believe. Like, I mean, who knows how much? I mean, I know they're blocking a lot, but sometimes you do have to be careful. Like, we have done this many. Like, how am I confidently? I don't believe you. Like, I'm sure you just throw a number and it's like you gotta give me more than that. But it's all good. I see. Since we are talking about capitalism, I'm wondering what you think about the Luigi manga law. Now we're getting off topic. So, uh, sure, we can talk about that for a little bit. Yeah, the Luigi, the guy that assassinated the CEO of United Healthcare. Now, here's the thing: like, I have United Healthcare through my employer, right? Now, United Healthcare actually, my wife has, she's on a migraine medication, and one of the when we actually switched. My employer switched from Cigna to United Healthcare to save money because it's part of their cost cut saving initiatives. United Healthcare is like cheaper, right? Through that plan, that medication was denied. Like she was getting it, but then United Healthcare was like, "No, we're not paying for this anymore." Now, as you know, like many people have migraines. Migraines are like horrible. Like, so it's like, so you're going to deny, and that happens all the time, right? So I don't like, the guy that's assassinated the United Healthcare CEO. I'm not saying he's a saint or nothing like that, but I could see how somebody could be driven to do that. If a company is denying you like medication that will help that'll save your life or prevent you from extreme pain, right? Which happens all the time in the United States of America and other countries, right? So for me, it's like I think the issue is like we shouldn't really be focusing so much on that guy Luigi. We should just be kind of focusing on what the hell drove this person to do that, right? And then also like, there's people that feel that are motivated to do things like that all the time. Why, right? That's what we need. You got to look at it philosophically, right? And so like really we just have, what should be discussed is like the shitty condition of our healthcare system. And I don't really like Luigi, whatever his name is, like he's beside the point. He's just a symptom of our fucked up healthcare system, right? Really, that's what we should be focusing on. So I mean, that's what I got to say about that. Right? When you have a horrible healthcare system like that, people, actions like the one that guy did will happen. They'll happen. They'll drive people to do those kinds of things. And so what we should be doing is we should be like, okay, we need to change the system, but that's not going to happen, right? That's not going to happen at all. But yeah, I mean, I think people should kind of shift their focus, right, and stop like focusing so heavily on this one individual, and I see all the memes. And I'm just like kind of shaking my head, like y'all are just completely missing the point, and like you're not like turning this into like action or like useful something that can be used to change. You're just like memeing this shit, And that's one of the issues with our society today. But I mean, that's how it's always been. It's just now we just meme stuff all the fucking time. But we used to do other things before then. But now like it's just become this, we just meme crap. And it's like, can we just actually take steps to make change instead of just like fucking turning shit to memes all the fucking time? I don't know. That's just me. Ring a bell, Nadia. What is it about? A terrorist charge is laid against him. Oh, okay. You're just explaining. I think I need to shift. Whoa, I'm way behind here. Let's see here. I have completely lost my where I was at. YouTube was finding a way to get. Okay, where are we at? Okay, here we are. YouTube is supposed to be a social media, but the segregation between quality content professionals and slice of life sweetheart video response channels does get me thinking. broadcast yourself, or Snapchat and TikTok rarely get ads, and they are some of the most private social media I've ever used. Okay. I don't use TikTok. I find TikTok extremely annoying, but we could talk about that. If you want, I strongly agree. Well, it counts every day. It's for me personally. Okay, well that's great. That you keep track of that. That's cool. Well, I actually donate. I actually give a little bit of money to my ad blocker, which is free, because I'm like, hey, you know what? I got a few dollars to throw at you for blocking all the ads. Yeah. People are very controversial about sales insurance. Rumor has it we don't need insurance in the first place, not to mention the sales ecosystem. No, we don't. I mean, insurance is just, I mean, like, that's just some crap that we invented for corporations to make money. Like, insurance is like, I mean, insurance is like one of those absurdities of capitalism, right? I mean, there's so many, like, absurd inventions from capital. Insurance is definitely one of them. Like, interest is another one. Interest is like, although interest existed before capitalism, but interest is also this thing that just doesn't, like, what? Like, interest was, you'll see, you can read about interest in the Bible and shit, and it's just like, still, I'm like, huh? Like, it's just this dumbass fabrication that we've kind of just, that's been grandfathered into our thinking. We think like that's normal, but it's actually quite stupid, to be honest. But here we are. Advertising, in my opinion, helps because it's better to be annoyed than to be in fear. Yeah, but sometimes advertisement can make you fearing. They can make you scared. Like some ads deliberately make you scared, right? So that you'll be in more of a state to buy shit, right? That's the problem. Fear mongering often happens on a YouTube channel with videos themselves. Yep, that happens too. Ads only promote what they are conditioned to do so. In addition to drama and cancel culture and blocking unwanted attention, ads, in my humble opinion, are at least a distraction from unnecessary suffering of discouraging new ideas and opportunities. Oh, okay. That's cool. In Canada, where I used to live, car insurance is provided by the state. I would often get checks at the end of the year rebating me because they didn't end up using all the money. And that's nice. It was also the cheapest car insurance I ever had. A fraction of what I pay in Toronto. Yeah, we don't have that concept. We just like, here's car insurance. He's so stupid. Like, what we should have is public transportation, right? And people should just be able to just get into a public transit system and go wherever the hell they want to go, right? For free, right? That's what we should have, right? Or people should be able to ride bicycles, and we shouldn't have to travel far distances to go to work. I mean, this is what would make sense in our society, right? I mean, if you really want to get down to the realism of, like, I'm a truth teller. Like, that's what we should, like, the whole notion of a car is, I understand, like, sometimes people need to drive long distances, but we have, like, taken that whole idea and just, like, created this entire, like, nonsensical, like, we think like that's what we should be doing. Like, we think like we should be commuting a half hour to work every morning. Like, that's normal. It's like, no, it's like, that's ridiculous. Like, we shouldn't have to be doing that. Right? But, I mean, the whole model is just absurd, right? But, you got to do what you got to do to pay the bills, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, let's not, we can talk about the stupidity of car insurance, but we can go even further and say, look, our transportation system just in general is just is idiotic and nonsensical, right? But it functions to put money in the people who own corporations pocket. So for in that way, it's highly effective. But yeah, that's my TED talk, and welcome, and I thank you. Yeah, that's exactly why I'm careful how I speak truth and logic. Oh, even though I'm somewhat pushy and aggressive with my actions, I'm very thoughtful towards people and love to be friendly. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, bike lanes, free public transit, high speed. I mean, hello. It's like, that's what we should be focusing on. But no, we're just like in this dumbass, like, situation where people need car insurance. Like, it's so stupid. And then we just like accept this as normal. It's just dumb. But yeah. Doesn't Canada have a scarcity of medical firms and high demand for doctors? Even with their free healthcare laws, sorry for the noisiness, they really, such as not providing enough doctor residents, despite my Canadian many trying to be doctors enough. Yeah, I mean, Canada only has that problem because it's very difficult to become a doctor because first of all it costs a fortune to for the education to become a doctor. That should be free. Like if you want to be a doctor and you want to learn how to be doctor, then you shouldn't have to pay for that education, period. Right? Like why should you have to pay for that? Like it's stupid. Like think about that for a minute. Just think about the stupidity of that. But that's the system we live in. Like I bet if it was free for you to learn how to be a doctor, they'd be a lot, you wouldn't have a waiting time in Canada, right, to get medical health care, right? But I mean, first of all, remove the difficulty of becoming a doctor or a physician, right? It also like invests in healthcare, right? Like, maybe investing in healthcare instead of like putting money in like war, right? Or like the military or something like. I mean, I don't, you know. People will say things like that. They'll say like, well, in Canada, it's free, but you have to wait, and so it's not like, that's why you shouldn't have free. Like, what are you talking about? That's like such a dumb, you gotta like think about all these other problems that are going on, right? I don't know. Uh, Also, sorry for getting off topic. If you want to, folks want to become doctors here, but services are making it very difficult with many different intricate policies. They are intentionally not investing in it. Exactly. Take that in consideration. Like people watching our Anthony, like think about why is it so difficult for you to be a doctor, and it had not in terms of like the educate like actually learning the material, but like the amount of money that you have to spend to get an education, right? Or the amount of the how hard it is resource wise to do it. That's the problem, right? That's the problem. But yeah, kind of has a fantastic theatrical arts is the music industry and historians. They say their mental health procedures probably are even worse off even in there here in the United States. Well, the thing about the United States, like healthcare is the quality of healthcare is amazing. It's just the administration is like horrible. Like to actually get the access to healthcare is like disgusting here. Like the healthcare itself is amazing, but how much it costs, what you got, the hoops you have to jump through, the all the rigmarole you have to deal with, like that's what the problem is in the United States, right? But the actual healthcare itself is amazing. You just got to get to it, right? It just boggles the mind how like how idiotic it is. But if you just think about it like, well, it's a business. If you just think about it like that, like, oh well, that makes sense. If you just but is a business where people's lives and like wellness are like the products, which is like that's dystopian, right? But here we are. Europe and Asia have fantastic mental health, from what I hear. I hear like, I was just talking to somebody from the United Kingdom, and they say their mental health services are jack shit. Right? Right? I hear they're like horrible, but that's what I heard from people. I was talking to somebody from the United Kingdom, and they were saying like, don't come to the United Kingdom. I encourage everybody who grew up to just go away, because the healthcare system over there is disgusting, right? But I'm sure like there's plenty of other places in Europe that are good. But I mean, it's a global problem. It's a global issue for sure. Uh, let's see, Europe and Asia, but then what are Canada's mental health procedures that you're referring to? In spite of the opportunity, I don't know. To pay for mental health, just like you can. In the United States, you can offer to pay for mental health, just like, yeah, but like in the United States, mental health care is like extreme. Is exclusionarily expensive, right? It's incredibly expensive, right? Most people can't afford to just pay out of pocket for any type of health care, right? In the United States, and that's the same thing with college, right? Like most people can't afford college unless they pull out huge loans. And there's this misconception where grants and scholarships, like those aren't as easy to get as people say they are, right? A lot of people say, "Oh, it's easy to get grants and scholarships." No, it's actually not that easy. Like lots of people get them, but they're not just throwing them around hand over fist, right? Like what people make it out to be. Okay, cool. Yeah, like you know, Nadia says Canada's mental health support is largely private, which is like horrible. Healthcare shouldn't be private; it should be public. Now people would argue like, well, if it's private, it's more high quality because, now you have the market and competition, and it drives competitiveness. And it's like that's not how it works, right? Because people think like, well, capitalism creates healthy competition where products are, and like no, what happens is like monopolies start forming, right? And then one corporation starts dominating the market, and then they just do whatever the hell they want, and they don't give a shit about quality anymore. And that's what capitalism drives. There is no such thing as like healthy competition. Like that doesn't work. Like there are no examples where that's and then people will point to stuff, and I'll be like, well, let's look at it more long term. Like some people will say, like, well, look at Apple, with the iPhone. It's like, well, let's look at Apple throughout the years and see how that actually worked out, right? Or whatever example you could throw at me. Let's see. Well, if you cannot make enough money to live somewhere else, it's not because of where you're moving to. It's because your current location is playing games. For many, that's fair. What the fuck? It's still very competitive to get a job in the public healthcare institutions. Yep, that's true. I just hope people get the help they need. It's not right to struggle with good intention, more or less. Yeah, like that's funny. Like, yeah. Nadia brings up a good point. It's still very competitive to get a job in a public healthcare institute. Like, what? Like, why the hell would it be competitive? Like, there's so many people that need healthcare. Right? We don't have enough healthcare providers yet. It's competitive. Like, what? Huh? But if we operate healthcare like a business, because business is supposed to be competitive, like, then that's the result you have. It's just, yeah. I could go on and on about that, but going back to the topic, and it's kind of, it's kind of related. But basically, like, yeah, content is dumbed down um, due to advertisers, and that's like, I'm not trying to get on a high horse or anything, but that's why I don't monetize my YouTube channel, because I'm not trying to chase like an algorithm. You know what happens like when I don't monetize my videos now. I think YouTube still puts ads on video on all videos. It's just I think they're just generic ads video. Like generic ads are like it's advertisers that they just don't give a fuck. They just like it's probably the lowest tier paid advertisers. They're just like, hey, just put my ad on anything. Right? It's not like because I'm sure like how it works is advertisers pay a premium for to get their ads targeted on specific, but then there's probably advertisers that are like, hey, just put my video on whatever, put my, and I'm sure I get like that kind of stuff. Um, but the problem with like you become monetized, then it's like, okay, now I have to maintain my monetization status. I now have to like conform to like the demands of like advertiser friendly videos, right? And that's a problem, right? That's a problem. Now, I'm not trying to knock people who are, I mean, don't get me wrong, like you got to pay the bills, right? And some people are like, dude, this is my YouTube is my job, and this is how I make money. Like, okay, that's fair, we all got to compromise, but just acknowledge that you are compromising. That's all I'm saying. So that means that you're dumbing down your content. And some people be like, no, I'm not. And like, yeah, you are. And there's many things. Like people are afraid to say like what nowadays. People are afraid to say like names of drugs. Right? They can't use the word suicide anymore. They can't. They gotta watch. There's some like. There's some words like, okay, I get it. Like the N word. Like, yeah, okay, that makes sense to me. But there's some words it's like, wow, you can't even say that anymore. Or your video will immediately be demonetized or whatever. You can't curse. It is like, well, you shouldn't be cursing anyway. It's like, what? What the huh? That has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. Like, but yeah, like you got your videos have to be a certain length. You can't make them too long, and some people might argue like, well, if you make them too long, that's gonna like people don't want to watch that. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, it's like, dude, like you could just make it a long ass video, and somebody could just watch it for like 5 minutes and turn it off, like. And then come back to it later. Like, like they don't have to watch the whole thing, like at any setting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's easy ways for people to handle long content, but people don't want to So what'll happen is people will like summarize information into like bite-sized pieces, and then they won't get into depth about topics that need actually depth to be explained fully, and you'll get this half-ass idea of what's being said, right? And so now you have this information that's like just dumbed down. It is all because like advertisers want these videos to be whatever certain length, or all types of other things, right? I just hope people get the help they need. It's not right to start. I try to sort my tidy Patriot donation. Yeah, no, that's great. So I do have the Patriot, and I appreciate the people that donate, even if $1 makes a difference. For sure, that's cool. But and I'm not trying to like sell Patriot. Like if you want to do that, that's fine, and I thank you. But if not, then hey, I get it. Like. We living in tough times. People are broke. I mostly did it because people kept asking, like, dude, like, you need to set up a Patreon page. And I kept ignoring for the longest time. And then I thought, like, that's not fair. That's not fair. I shouldn't just, like, blow people off like that. I should, like, go ahead and, like, because so many people were saying, like, they're like, hey, if you start a Patreon page, I'll support you. Like, I would say, nah. But so many people do it. I was like, okay. Like, it was more, I didn't want to, like, feel I didn't want to just blow people off, so I made one, and like, it's funny because most of the people that were saying like, "Oh, I'll definitely support you," like they didn't support me on Patreon, which I kind of figured, but I was giving people the benefit of the doubt, and I don't like like I get it, I get it. I just want to know why you kept hassling me to do it when you don't want to. That's all that's just a genuine question. Right. But I think I don't know why you hassle me, but I know why you can't do it because times are hard. You need every penny for your gas and your groceries and your utility bill. I get it. I get it. So I do appreciate all the support I get from there. And there's people who say $3 can't afford food or clothes are paying way too much in their own privately maintained lives. Well, it adds up. It definitely adds up for sure. The intense, unorthodox, gentians content word. Oh, okay. Oh, genitals. See, I could say whatever the hell I want to say because I don't give a shit about like advertisers. so, so I could care less. So for me, it's like, and that's all I wanted to really say. It's like if because I see these videos of people like they'll spend 5 minutes lamenting about like, okay, I want to make this video, but I gotta be careful. Like some people make videos about smoking cigarettes. Like that's a thing. Like people make videos about smoking cigarettes, which I'm not a smoker, so I don't really care that much. But but you can't even do that anymore. You can't like mention the word tobacco. If you say tobacco on a video, you will get demonetized. If you like, it's that kind of stuff. It's like, what? Because it has to be advertiser friendly. Uh, or whatever. Now, some people would say like, well, maybe we should like maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we should we should discourage smoking, and that's a good thing. I don't know. I think it's better to just like if people want to do that, that's fine. But also have the information out there. Like, yeah, smoking causes cancer. Right? So just put that out there, and okay, now you know. So do you right? I understand like there's certain things that it will threaten society. Or like I get it. Like you gotta draw the line somewhere. It's like yeah, you could do that, but it's gonna hurt other people. But some things are like, well, if you're just doing you, like, and you understand the risk, like, and you're okay with that, then I don't know why you have to like skirt around it. But let's see. I love chatting for 3 hours with you, Neil. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that was a long video that one time. Some of us are clever with hard work. It's not necessarily work smart. It's just that they don't have a weaker attitude with their jobs. Mean to them on average. In a socially anxious, penny pinching, and artificially intelligent world of work, you got to learn how to make a decision and take actions. Wow, that's a lot of words there, but that's cool. Uh, yeah, it's just everything's so expensive nowadays. Basic groceries, gas, you know, energy, electricity, basic the mortgage, the rent. Uh, so I get like, you know, everything is you need, money is hard to come by, and that's not the case for everybody. Some people are financially well off, and they're not pinching pennies. A lot of us are. I have a strict budget, but not everybody's in those situations. That's something you can acknowledge too. Like those capitalists. But yeah, let's see if I got anything else here. Sometimes you got to quit a job for bad mental health. Yep. That's definitely true. That's definitely. I definitely quit a job for that. I've mentioned this before. My dream was to be work in a video game industry. I'm like a gamer. Sonic the Hedgehog. Where is it? Am I pointing? Yep, pointing. Sonic the Hedgehog. Still haven't seen those movies. I'm sure everybody tells me they're very good. Uh, I'm just not a movie watcher nowadays. I watch old ass movies, but yeah, I love the video game side of the hedge. I'm a gamer, so my dream was to work in the video game industry. So I went to college, studied computer science, so to learn how to program, so I could program video games. Eventually, got into the game industry, and then I found out, wow, the game industry is toxic as fuck. The game industry is extremely fucking misogynist, racist, homophobic. It's really fucking bad. I don't know if you've heard how it is. Those stories are true. I think what they call it, Gamergate, the Gamergate. It's a pretty misogynistic, racist, homophobic like place to work. I worked like in corporate gaming, and then also like video game companies are run not by people who play games. It's just business people. It's suits and ties, and games are just investments. Like video games are because there's a lot of money in video game development, or just video games. I think video game industry makes more money than the music industry and the film industry combined, right? By far. So it's like a lot of money to be made. So people who are calling the shots in like corporate video game making are just like suits and ties who could care less about like video games. So there's that too. And I just got burnt. I didn't even get burnt out. I worked there for a while, and I was like, yep, nope. I'm not even gonna get to the point where I get burnt down. I'm out. I'm out. So I quit. I quit that shit. So I completely yeah, definitely you do have to quit if you find out like this ain't gonna work for my mental health, right? For sure. hmm So yeah, and let's see if there's anything else here to discuss with quality content. Yeah, so I think this was more just a video explaining why I don't want to monetize my channel, because I know the arguments of well, if you monetize your videos, then YouTube will push your videos to a broader audience, right? You'll actually get more views because that's what they want. They want like a monetized video. They want advertiser friendly videos to be seen, to have more eyes to be seen. So actually by doing that, you are exposing your channel. But the thing is, like, yeah, but now I gotta play by their rules, right? Meaning, like, I can't talk so much about like woke stuff, right? Like, maybe you can't even mention like, feminist topics. It'll be like, oh, you mentioned a feminist topic demonetized, right? And then it's like, or whatever. You can't like, criticize like gun culture, demonetized. Right? You can't like, give a social critique about like certain parts of the government, demonetized, right? And I'm not trying to play that game. I'm really not. Just I want to like really say what I want to say, So, yeah, and I think like there's so many people that play that game, because it's interesting because you look at people who have large, it's so interesting. You see these YouTubers that blow up and they get huge numbers. And then, several things happen. A lot of times what will happen is they'll post a lot of videos and then they'll take like a big ass break. You won't see them for like 6 months. And then they'll come out with a video about how I got burnt out, right? Because I spent too much time chasing the algorithm and dealing with all these hate comments. I've seen that so much. So there's that. So it does. It really doesn't pay. It really doesn't pay ultimately. Like you don't really get. So there's that, and then also I'm starting to see all these big YouTubers like actually disclosing the amount of money they make, from YouTube videos that get lots of views, and is actually not that much. Right? It's not that much. So for me, it's like, yeah, I don't see how this is actually worth it. But yeah. Sometimes you gotta stay at a truly loyal job. Yeah, sometimes you do gotta stay. I mean, I've worked for the same company. I'll tell you, like I worked for FedEx. You know, I've worked for FedEx for almost 20 years now. So yeah, I'm not opposed to like staying to one company. I've done that. Sometimes you do. It just depends. FedEx, is a good company. I don't like, I'm not like a philosopher or nothing. I do like a corporate, office job. But yeah, I started from, package handling at the warehouse, and I moved up. So yeah, I'm not. Yeah, so that's you gotta do what you gotta do. So I mean, Anthony brings up a good point of like, you gotta do what you gotta do to pay the bills. And so I had that job that I've had for. It's not the same position, but I work at the same company for like almost 2 decades, and that's allowed me like, well, at least I had that security, so I don't really have to monetize my videos for financial. I'm not relying on YouTube for financial stability. Like it's just like a hobby. So there's that where some people like are actually relying on YouTube for money and to pay the bills, which that's wow. Like that's hard. That's rough. That's rough because But hey, people are doing it, and more power to them. Do you intend to make videos for a very long time? I think so. I think so. I wish. I wonder how long YouTube will exist. I'll stay on YouTube, but maybe one day YouTube won't exist anymore. But maybe there'll always be some video sharing platform that I can use. And hey, like I have a degree in computer science. I can program my own website, but the problem is I won't be able to it won't. YouTube has this whole infrastructure where they're able to send your videos to broad audiences. That's the thing that I wouldn't have. But I'll have my community. It'll be like old school internet, like late '90s internet. Like I have the skills to like create my own video sharing website, but YouTube just does all that for you. But I think I'll still be making video. I foresee myself making videos for a long, long time. YouTube is pretty fascist in the rules of demonetization. Yeah, no, they're cutthroat. YouTube don't play. They're like, and it's well, no, I would say like it's only for monetization. If you're looking to make money off your videos, then it's pretty. There's a lot of rules you gotta follow, right? And you're not going to be able to create the content you want, right? Content creators will say like, well, I'm making the content that no, you have to like conform, right? You have to conform, right? And maybe. I'm not saying that might not be a problem for many creators. They're like, that's fine, I'll do that. I like working within the confines, but for me, like, for what I talk about, like philosophy, like I can't, no, I can't be like censored, right? In terms of like, because I talk about sensitive topics, politics, religion, social economics, racism, sexism, I talk about really sensitive topics, which are immediately demonetizable, right? And it's sad because they're not like, it's not violence. I'm not promoting hate. I'm not promoting. There's some videos that promote hate, and they're cool with advertisers. And see, that's the thing, right? You'll get demonetized for talking about things that are important and should be talked about. But then, when you push fear and hate and like stupidity, those are just fine, right? Because that's those are easily digestible content, and so advertisers like, yeah, put it on that. Dumb people will buy our shit. Scared people will buy our shit. People who are filled with hate, they'll buy our shit. That's what it ultimately is about. It's too bad. Sad but true. Do you ever get hate comments? I get hate comments all the damn time. If you become a YouTuber, or if you post any media online, you will get hate comments. That's just the nature of the beast. Oh yeah, no, I get all types of hate shit. But I've fortunately thick skin, and I guess another sad matter of fact is I'm not a woman, so I don't get nearly as many hate comments as I would if I was a woman, and that's just a fact, right? And it's crazy because I get a lot of hate comments, so I can only imagine how much women have to deal. Oh my god, it's horrible, right? Yeah, but I think that's my male privilege helps with that, but I still get a lot. But I could, who cares? I understand, some people get really hurt by that, and that's valid. You know, uh, it hurts. I don't get hurt by that, but then, I'm saying, I don't get I do get a lot of vicious shit, but I don't know. I think if I was a woman, I'd be more susceptible to a lot of that because people really are they're pretty. There's a lot of assholes who are really misogynistic, and they can really say some really shitty ass things, right? So I don't get exposed to that. I think, despite the fact that I get several hate comments, I don't get nearly as it's still not as bad as some people, right? Which is actually pretty sad to think about. But so I could see people quitting based off of that. Fortunately, I've never gotten anything that has affected me negatively. Right? It's only made me laugh. And I don't think I will because I've been doing this for so long. But keep in mind I'm a man. Now I am black, so I get a lot of racist shit for sure. But whatever. Let's see. You also get tempted to make money sooner and grow a common ground audience, right? But I've always say is the money? I don't think the money's worth it, right? I mean, you get money, but it's would it be more money than if you were to just get a regular job? A lot of times that's not the case. So it's kind of it's not like you're rolling in dough, right? Yeah, YouTubers don't really make huge amount of money. The big, huge ones that have millions of subscribers, even they they get a lot of money because they get sponsorships and shit. A lot it's kind of like athletes, right? Or Olympians specifically. I hear medalists who are Olympians, the ones even who win medals, they don't actually get that much money. They get money when companies like Nike and Adidas decide to sponsor them, and then that's where the actual job of being an athlete does not pay that much in terms of most, except for sports is the NBA and the NFL and all that. Yeah, they make a lot of money, but I think even that, well, they make a lot of money from contracts alone. But then they also get sponsorship stuff, which I think is actually even more from what but most athletes aren't in that position. It's a lot like YouTubers, right? There's some YouTubers PewDiePie or whatever, however you pronounce that guy's name, or people like that who are started early, and like blew up, and I think they just make money off YouTube. There's those people, um, but most YouTubers, even like YouTubers that have like 500,000 subscribers, even they're not. There's not like, maybe they can afford a nice apartment, but they probably can't even buy a house or something like that. It's crazy. So is it even worth it? I don't know. If you pursue true creative freedom, prepare to learn fast but suffer hard. The lessons at Journey are awesome, and it's peaceful being yourself, but it still has temporary drawbacks. Yeah, everything has a catch. Really, I never see them in the comments, but maybe you delete them. Yeah, so they YouTube will you have a they call it what is it? What do they call this? Creator YouTube Studio. It's like if you make a YouTube account, you'll have like your own page that's personal, and then they'll like put all the comments that you get. Like YouTube will automatically filter a lot of stuff out for the public, but you'll see them in your like personal page, right? So YouTube's pretty good at that. Like it'll like just filter out a lot of comments. That's why I remember, Nadia, you were saying like you post comments and then they immediately get deleted, right? Because I think that's the automatic algorithm, or like the artificial intelligence mistaking you for a hate comment, and they just get rid of it. But I can still see a lot of that, on my page, and then I can decide to like get rid of it or allow it or whatever. So a lot of times, yeah. So there's this intermediary thing that happens. Yeah. It's because you guys usually love a challenge, but in a good way. Yeah, it's not for me. It's not about challenge. It's just about like, look, I want to, I actually want to talk about philosophy. Like, I want to talk about philosophy. Like, I don't want to do like commercial philosophy. I don't want to like, yeah, commercial philosophy, like pop philosophy, like that, like Peterson shit, Jordan Peterson kind of philosophy, or like, or that like kind of, yeah, that pop philosophy. Like, I remember there was this, what was that old ass chat? I'm guessing it's probably still around. The avatar picture was Wisecrack, I think it was called, like that Wisecrack shit, which that was one of the in Thug Notes. I remember they had these YouTube channels that were like philosophy, but they are very like, it was like SNL, like Saturday Night Live philosophy, right? And I'm like, yeah, no, like I'm not trying to do that shit. I just want to just actually talk about philosophy, and not dumb it down. Lost Lakes YouTube is someone who lives in northern, canoes and posts videos on YouTube for a living. Wow. He was able to quit his day job. Well, there you go. That's a good example of a person that's making it work. And I applaud him for doing that, or applaud him or her or they. That's nice. Tim Ward and Yash from Beyond the Alchemy are rent free literally and travel a lot. I hope you don't see him Monday like take a break, and then like 4 months later you see him post a video like, I can't do this anymore. It's so hard. Fortunately, like, I'm not in that position. I just noticed I got a little baby dread sticking out. That's funny. Yeah, a little baby dread sticking out. But yeah, I'm not in that kind of position. I'm not like, oh no. This is becoming too stressful. I can't take it anymore. I have to take a break. Like this, you know, YouTube for me is de-stress. It's a de-stress. It's a hobby. It makes me feel happy. It's always made me feel happy. There's never been a point in over 10 years I've been doing this where I feel like overstressed or like I don't want to do this anymore. I think if I started monetizing it and making it like a source of income, then I would start feeling like that, right? But because I don't do that, it's just like this thing I can always go to feel happy and good and true to myself, and you know, yeah. And I think that's never gonna change. This is always gonna be that for me. It's just interesting when I see people that where that happens, and I'm like, wow, it's too bad because this is such a great platform. Like it gives me a lot of joy, but apparently it doesn't give you a lot of joy. Are these the people that are doing that? Okay. It's so frustrating when it mistakes me for a spammer. You're not the only one. Yeah, there's a bunch of people who are like, why the hell did my comment get erased? It's not me. I didn't do it. I think it's their the automatic YouTube bots are doing that. I hope not. But he is super happy because his passion is camping and canoeing, and that's what he does for the videos. Nice. Not very philosophical or political, so topics don't come up that attack. Oh yeah, that makes sense. It's like, yeah, they're like, I just do. I'm sure, like, you know, if you watch his ads, you see a lot of like swim sports stuff. You see a lot of like water sports, and then I'm guessing he probably like gets sent requests for sponsorship. Like there's like companies that make boats and canoes. They're like, hey, you want to get a free boat from us? You know, get some free oars. Yeah. And I wonder if I never seen him. He's probably like, this video has been sponsored by Oar Maker. These oars are great. They're like the greatest oars. And if you like, you know, I'm going to put a link in the comment below, and the first 100 people that hit the link will get 20% off their first order of oars for their canoe. I wonder if that's going on. Which, you know, no hate. I'm not hating. You know, you got to make your money. I think he felt more stress at his day job. Okay. Plus, he saved a lot from it. Nice. And his mortgage is dirt cheap. Well, that helps. He lives pretty far north. Ah. So it's like he lives somewhere where most people don't want to live. But he's like, hey, I love nature. Thankfully, he doesn't sponsor products somehow. Cool. So you don't even see ads. Excellent. So that works out for everybody. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I actually, you know, one of my bucket list items is I want to learn how to swim. I don't know how to swim. I do not know how to swim. One of these days, I'm going to learn how to swim. I'm going to go to the YMCA. And I'm going to learn how to swim. You think, because I'm from California, that people assume, like, you're from California. You're a beach state. Like, you don't know how to swim? It's like, no, I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. Most people from the San Francisco Bay Area actually don't know how to swim because the water, first of all, the quality of the water in the San Francisco Bay is horrible. Right? Secondly, it's like the water in the San Francisco Bay is extremely cold. It's very cold. So, like, people aren't really drawn to swimming. Now, the Southern California, like, you know, San Diego and shit, and like Laguna Beach and all those, like SoCal, like, oh yeah, they be swimming because they're closer to the equator and all that. But not in, you know, Baja California, but not the Bay Area. You should learn. Yeah, swimming in lakes is my favorite pastime. Yeah, I live next to the Mississippi River, so I don't see anybody swimming in that river. But I see people on jet skis, and you know, yeah, a lot of jet skis and a lot of power boats. But I don't see a lot of swimming. And then there's also cruises. People do cruises. That's funny. Have you kayaked or canoed before? No, but I have friends who do that, and they've invited me. I have a friend that invited me to do it, uh, and I should go. I should take him on his invite one day, because everybody that does it. My wife went on a canoeing trip or kayak or whatever it's called with my buddy, and she was like, "It's amazing." And then my other friends like, "Oh, it's awesome." And you don't even have to know how to swim. My wife doesn't know how to swim, but you got your life vest on, so you're good. You just like, and you got my buddy knows how to swim, so you can say if something crazy happens, he'll dive in and keep you safe and stuff. But yeah, everybody tells me it's beautiful. A life jacket, yeah. It's good to know how to swim first. Yeah, my friend takes a lot of people out who don't know how to swim, and they're good because those life jackets. But yeah, I gotta. But that not knowing how to swim isn't what's preventing me. It's just like I don't feel. I don't know. I guess I'm not that interested in it. I was wanting to bring my canoe down the Mississippi River, but not sure if that's a good idea. I haven't looked into it yet. Well, where I live, Memphis, people do that all the time. Canoeing and kayaking is a people do that all the time here, and we don't. It's not just the Mississippi River. It's all other types of lakes and rivers here in Arkansas and Tennessee that people do that. Yeah, yeah, people like there's a lot of that going on. So if you were to bring your canoe, you said you would have a lot to do. You'd have a lot of places to go, but I don't know how feasible that is. I guess you could just put it on top of your car. That's what my buddy does. uh, let's see. Oh wow, I think U.S. mess have a lower percentage of people who can swim than Canada. I don't know. I don't know how many people who can't swim up here. Okay, that is probably the case. I guess probably everybody knows how to swim in Canada. Yeah, it's probably true. But there's a lot. But many people in the United States know how to swim. My I'm jealous of my twin brother. I have a twin brother. He knows how to swim. He learned how to swim. Uh, yeah, lots of people here know. I just don't. And a lot of people actually don't. Like a lot of people don't because we're city slickers. But a lot of people do. Maybe it's like half and half. I wonder. I would assume maybe it's like you probably could just chat GPT that or Google it. My assumption is like probably 60% of the people in the United States know how to swim and 40% don't. That would be my assumption, but I don't know. Okay, cool. I wanted to go all the way down to New Orleans by the river and camp along. Oh yeah, no. Yeah, here in the South, that area, yeah, people they love canoeing here. Like water activities are big here in the South. In the South, we got a lot of rivers and lakes and streams where people spend a lot of time doing that. And just boating, people love people got big boats. That's a whole thing too. Here, I don't really know. I'm not really a part of that scene, but that's pretty big here. Like many people I know here do that. Let's see. I really try staying away from water. I'm definitely not a water creature. Hello, Clark. Uh, yeah, I just I'm not opposed to water. Water's fine. I'm just uh, yeah, I'm not like a mermaid. Some people are like they love the water. They just gotta, the water just attracts them. I'm not that kind of person, but I'll get into a pool that's like I can stand up in. That's fine. And Jeremy's here. Hello. What's your twin brother up to these days? Are you close? Oh yeah, twin brother's like my best bud. He's in California, just doing his thing. You know, chilling. Yeah, he's cool. About 95% of people born in Canada can swim, compared to nearly 20% of new Canadians. Okay. Can perform all basic skills. Okay. 80%. Okay, kind of like 80% of people can probably, in America, can probably just swim in a pool. Because, that's the other thing. All right. In America, like lots of people have private pools in their houses. So people can probably swim in their pool. But if you like threw somebody out in the middle of a lake, like would they be able to like that's a whole other thing, right? 56%. Okay, that's about what I thought. Yeah, close to 60%. How many siblings do I have? Yeah, I have a twin brother, and I have a older brother, a brother who's 10 years older than me. Uh, yep. Our ads are always annoying, in my opinion. Yep, we definitely talked about that. hmm but yeah, I think so. Uh, what I plan to do, like I mentioned before, like I'm independently developing this video game. It's kind of like this project that I do on the side, and hopefully by this year I'll finish it, and that's like my reward. I think, like when I finish my video game, then one of the things I've got to do is I'm gonna learn how to swim. Once that game is out, then I'm gonna go to like a YMCA or wherever or whoever I know. I'm just gonna take swimming lessons. It's not hard. It's not, you just gotta, and I'm gonna learn how to swim. I mean, that's the plan. That's the plan. I don't respect people making videos just for money, and they suck. Uh, well, a job's a job. A job's a job. Like, if that's your job, then, I don't know. To me, like, people who make videos for money, like, okay, well, I guess you make videos for money. That's what you do for a living. you know, I mean, lots of people have jobs. I mean, I don't know. I don't necessarily think they suck. Uh, and you might actually make good videos out there. Who knows? I mean, yeah. Not all video. Some people make videos for money, and they're actually pretty good. They're pretty good. Like, but are they educational? Some of them are. A lot of them are. But there's only a certain amount. My argument is there's like a limit to how much education you can disseminate if you have to, like, if your focus is making money off the video, right? At some point you got to be like, okay, you can't, you gotta take, you gotta bring it down a little bit, because this has to be like advertiser friendly, right? so there's that, but I don't know about that. The Lost Lakes videos are pretty cool. Okay. And also, you're saying the Lost Lakes are videos made for money, and they're cool. There you go. It's too distracting. Well, yeah, I mean, like me and Nadia, we have ad blockers, so I don't really notice those. But it's pretty crazy, because nowadays, like I grew up watching like National Geographic documentaries, and like I used to watch the Discovery Channel and the Learning Channel, and like all those science channel when they were actually like educational, before they were bought by Fox, I think, or whoever, and now they're just reality TV shows, pretty much. So there's this void on network or cable television where where's all the educational content? A lot of that is like YouTubers make extremely good documentaries now, like science documentaries. Like I've subscribed to several. This is one person that makes uh, documentaries about outer space, and I'm like, God damn, dude. You're like way, and he's just like a regular dude, but he's like he makes and he makes them for money, like he makes a living. I don't know if he makes a living, but he definitely monetizes the videos, and they're like very good. They're like extremely, and they're highly educational. Uh, that's one of my interests, like um, astronomy and astrophysics. I'm very interested in that. And some of these people who make videos about that, I'm just like, wow, shit. Like you're better than like like you're too good for National Geographic. And they're just amateurs. They're just people who one man shows. It kind of blows my mind sometimes, like how people who are just amateurs can just make such high quality, and they monetize their videos. And but like what we're me and Nadia, like I have ad blockers, so I don't see any advertisements now. So maybe that's what that helps. Oh, no lag. That's excellent. Deprogrammer. Cool. Hello. I cannot imagine having to upload so many videos. Oh yeah, because that's one of the other things. Yeah, Jeremy, you're saying like to be successful at monetizing, you have to be consistent. And you have to like upload frequently, uh, which is true. But somebody like what the person I'm talking about, like this outer space guy, he doesn't really. He like uploads a video every month. Um, and it's very good. I think he's like one of those people. He's probably like yeah. I'm sure he doesn't make a living off the videos, but he's just like, hey, if I can make some money off of it, shit, I'll check the monetization box. And a lot of people are like that. They're like, hey, if I make money off of it, fine. Uh, I just I have that I can check that box now, but I'm just like no, I'm not doing it. Fuck it. Not. I'm just not. I'm just not. I don't even want to put myself. I'm no. Like yeah, but you can make money. Yeah, I might make like like $20 a month here, $10 a month there, $5 a month. Like, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. I'm definitely not making like over $50. I mean, but I understand. Like, yeah, $20. That's some groceries. That's some gas for the car. But no, no. Now, if there was a potential to be like, hey, you're gonna make $1,000, I'm like, wow, okay, let me think about that. I might click that button then, but I wouldn't change the way I make stuff. I doubt like the way I make videos, I could make that much amount of money. Like, I don't think that would be a thing I could do. The way I'm making videos currently. Yeah, the video documentaries are dope on YouTube. Do you have any favorite creators or streamers? Wow. Uh, yeah, I think I have. I have on my channel. I have recommendations of YouTubers. Okay, now we're starting to go. I used to, I used to like not go over an hour with these videos, but we're just hanging out. We'll go for a little longer. Uh, some of my favorites are Bailey and Horses. Okay, I don't know those. I don't respect. I respect that you don't monetize, considering it's a small amount, and that you have a way to support yourself outside of this. Yeah, it's not worth it. I'll show you some of my favorites. And some of the people I'm subscribed to are not my favorites. It's like sometimes I subscribe to this for like because my you know, maybe I'm watching it with my twin brother or something, and I just subscribe. It's like random ass reasons sometimes why I subscribe. Uh, Let me see if I could do this. Can I just click on this? Okay. And then I could do this. Boom. Does this work? Let me see. No, it's not working. Okay. Yeah, so I had this like on the bottom. If you go to my homepage on the channel, I got this thing, More Philosophy on YouTube. And this guy's pretty cool. He's like a college professor. He's like a philosophy professor. In my opinion, he's like the best philosophy person on YouTube. He's pretty cool. I got a lot of respect for this guy. I think like because he's a professor and he's like not a BS professor. Like he's he breaks it down. So and closer to truth, like they used to be. Oh, okay, that's fine. I remember I used to watch PBS. Can I zoom in or no? Yeah. I remember when this was on PBS. This channel. This was on this was like a PBS show, public broadcasting station, and then they just moved to YouTube, and this is very good. I like this a lot. It's just a philosophy channel. You look at that: sex, sexuality, and gender. The search for meaning. How much more? And look how many subscribe. I mean, it deserves. I remember when they started, they had like 6,000, but they've been around for a long time. If you're like into philosophy, check this out. That's very good. That's one of my favorites. Let's see. What's your twin like? What's your twin like, Neil? Do you look very alike? Uh, Maybe I can find a picture. I don't think he gives a shit. Yeah, we're different. He's not as academic as I am. uh, Oops. Home. Okay, there we go. And he's yeah, we're kind of different. We're both into video games, and this guy's pretty cool. So he's in my favorites. Yeah, I listen to this. Remember OG ContraPoints? I don't know if anybody. This is a very famous. I don't. Does she make videos anymore, or does she? Last thing was Twilight. This is like OG. OG ContraPoints. Like one of the innovators. I mean, I don't think I would be here if it was not for ContraPoints. Like, she's like kind of set the whole stage for the. She's like one of the OG video essayists. Like so many people ripped off ex-philosopher. You gotta pay your dues to this one. But she doesn't really make videos that much anymore. But she would like, some people will say like, oh, she's not philosophy. Oh, bullshit. I used to really get into she's like an OG video essayist, one of the first people to do it, and on a high level, like really high quality. That's OG right there. You gotta give it up. You gotta give it up. Pave the way. When did she first make video essays? Let's look again. Because now you can sort from oldest. Okay, this is 7 years ago, but I'm pretty sure she was coming out with videos before. I think she probably removed a bunch of videos that were not up to her standards. Because I think she'd been around before 7 years. So 7 years ago. I think it's been longer than that, but it looks like she got a Patreon, so that's probably where she's doing most of her stuff. Because it's like, dude, I need money. Fair. And then you got philosophy too. I don't know. This is another very popular, like kind of pop philosophy. Uh, I always was like kind of like this person's cool, but they're more theater. They're more like into the aesthetics. She's more into the aesthetics of it, which is fine. Like there's some good quality content in here, but I always was like I'm trying to think. She's very good at philosophy, but I think for me it was kind of like okay, maybe it's a little bit more. It's too much show and not enough tell, because philosophy is about the whole thing is like show not tell, but with philosophy there's a lot of telling. There's a lot, and I think, but she's an actor. She's like into theater and stuff, so it makes sense. Who's the people ripping off ContraPoints? This person. This person like ripped off a ContraPoints vibe. Um, but I guess like imitation is the best flattery. But this person like definitely, basically, I would argue, completely ripped off of like ContraPoints. Like wow, you're just like ContraPoints 2.0, huh? Basically a video essayist that's basically doing the same thing as ContraPoints. And there's so many people that are very similar to ContraPoints. Uh, yeah, well, I think. Okay. First of all, I didn't know. So they go by they them pronouns. I don't know nowadays. Because I know like that was pretty cool. Like they transitioned on YouTube, which was like that was pretty educational, I thought, and they went through the whole process of that, which was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty cool, and pretty I would say brave, and also I think I respected that. I was like that's pretty cool, and educational, and people kind of paved the way. But I know that philosophy too can be very poppy, mainstream. But yeah, these are the people that I like. These are the people that I like. How would you feel, Neil, if me or someone else do the book discourse like you do and become successful? That'd be great. I mean, that's the whole point. That's why I make these videos, so more people could talk about philosophy. That would be like the ultimate dream, right? That's the reason. Like I always say, the reason why I make the videos it was because I didn't see anything like what I did. So I was like, because I kept searching YouTube for like I want to see somebody just like pick up the book and just talk about it, like instead of just like doing this like pop, flashy essay, which is fine, but I wanted more of a and I also didn't, I see a lot of like professional professors, and this guy is like a graduate PhD student who I think got their PhD. But what about just an average person who's not like a PhD student or somebody who has a PhD or a professor, and just an average person just talking regularly about philosophy and philosophy, but like that's what I wanted to see. So I tried to take it out of the ivory tower, right? and just kind of make it like an every person type of. Well, I wanted to make it very accessible. So if more people were to just do that, that's one of the things I wanted to do. Let me bring back my video. There we go. Yeah, I just hopefully back maybe that would be cool if it's like somebody was like, you know what, I could do this. I could talk about Immanuel Kant. I could talk about Jean-Paul Sartre. Like I don't have to have a PhD degree to do this. I don't have to have gone to college and studied philosophy to just talk about Aristotle, in a very like intelligent way because you don't, and you don't have to make these flashy, theatrical, like docudramas about it either, right? You just sit out in your chair and just chill, relax, and just talk about it, and that's just as effective. So that would be amazing if you were to do that. D'Angelo Wallace is great. He just needs to learn to establish healthy, firm boundaries and have an open mind. Okay, I never heard of that person. In spite of this deep, controversial content of the drama. Okay, yeah, I don't know that person. Rev is. Okay, so we're basically just throwing out people recommendations. Um, Here's somebody else that's kind of new, but it's basically the same stuff that I was talking about before. They were new. It's like two or three or four philosophy professors talking about philosophy. I just find like they could get too academic, which is um, I mean, they're college professors, so they're going to be academic. Yeah, understandable, but the average Joe and they got a lot of subscribers. I think some people just subscribe because it's funny. Isn't it funny? Like you see these big ass subscriber count, and this happens the same thing with my channel. You have these huge numbers, but then you'll see the video. It's like, yeah, 147,000 people subscribe, but 147,000 people are not watching your video, right? It's like only a small portion of people who subscribe actually watch your video. Because a lot of people just hit subscribe because it just makes them feel good. They're like, oh yeah, philosophy, huh? But then they never like actually watch the video. So, I mean, there's that too. That's why huge subscriber counts don't really, they don't mean that much to me because most people who subscribe to a YouTube channel don't actually watch your video. As you can see, all YouTube channels are like this. Let's see, all three of these guys blew up their channels. Oh. Mm-hmm. Wallace was stable at 50K for 5 years before he breached the next couple of them. That's cool. He's saying, that's the type of thing I'm not interested in. Somebody plateaued and then all of a sudden they like figured out how to work the algorithm and then they got 1 million subscribers, cracking the secret path to his passion and trends of audience needs. Like I just don't give a shit about that. I just gotta find a way to like hack the algorithm and then I can blow up to like I'm just not interested in blowing up on YouTube. Yeah, theory and philosophy. Yeah, they're cool. And he actually gave me the way I found out about him was like he gave me a shout out. He's like, hey, check out Black Ponderer. Like, who the hell is this? Oh, okay. Cool. Let me go back. He gave me a shout out. And I was like, who the hell is that? Oh, okay. Look cool. I'll subscribe and recommend. Yeah, it's just a nice person that's like he got a degree in like philosophy or critical theory or whatever, and he just talks about critical theory and philosophy, and that's awesome. But he is He's from the academic world, so it's highly academic. So I think again, like the average person is gonna be like, yeah, no. Uh, but the thing with me, and I think my issue is like I kind of am too laid back and too like, I'm not academic enough. So a lot of people will just look at me. I also think the title turns a lot of people off. They're like, ugh, race, I'm out. Which I'm sorry, I'm gonna die on that hill. But if I were to even just change the title of my channel, like if I would just use my real name, Neil Trotter, I bet like I'd get like a lot more people subscribing. But people don't want to confront the fact that racism is still a thing, so they just refuse to subscribe. Which is like, okay, well, that's your problem, not mine. I would love of some somewhat unusual content creators. Okay. But I'll just show you this last one before I go, who's really cool. If you're interested in space, I just like ran across this person. If you're interested in just outer space and astronomy and astrophysics, this guy is just awesome. He just makes these documentaries that it feels like you're watching National Geographic, or not National, because National Geographic does documentaries on like earth sciences and biology. You feel like you're watching the Discovery Channel when it used to be very good. He talks about like the four fundamental for gravity, like the strong nuclear force, and it's cool. He talks about like how Earth was formed. It talks about like this discoveries. I mean, this is an example of somebody who's like, wow, he almost got like he's got approaching like 1 million subscribers. That's pretty crazy. But this is an example of somebody who's like monetizing their content, but like makes very good content. So it's not always bad. It's not always bad, but I'm just not. I don't want to do it. but yeah, so I recommend that person if you're like interested in outer space. But yeah. Twitch is scary. Easier to have lives if there are less people here blowing up the chat. I know. Do you see some of these like when you go on Twitch, you see the big people and you see the chat, and it's just like rushing up. It's just like the chat is like moving in fast forward. It's like, how do they read? It's just like it's like a printing press. It's like it's going so fast, crazy. Yeah, that's cool. So when you're more intimate like me, you can make community. Community is more easier to form. I think your channel is great. Well, thanks. And you love Black Ponderer because he rises above the grain and still chooses to be himself. Wow. Wow, shucks. Kyle Little is also great. Well, yeah, I'm glad you're here watching the videos, Nadia. And I'll always, I'm not going anywhere, so I hope you stick around. And maybe we can become more, we can become pals. I think we already are buddies, but, that's what I'm about. It's more about, like, let's be friends. You're my subscriber. No, like, you're my buddy. You're my pal. You're my homie. That's what I want. That's what the internet was back in the day when it first started. But now it's just like everybody. Now it's just about getting followers and subscribers and fans. It is like, no, like that's not what the internet. That wasn't what the internet was supposed to be. uh, let's see. I'm really glad his content had to lean towards growing the channel first. Okay. I mean, if you were here in the early days of my channel, it took me a year to get 100. A year passed, and then I got 100 subscribers. And I didn't give a shit. When I was back in the day when I first started making videos, I didn't give a shit about. I still don't, but I could care. I was just busting out videos. I didn't care who watched them. I was really making them for myself, honestly. And it took me a year, so I never was like, well, let me buckle down and like concentrate on growing my audience. Like, that's not something I'll ever do. Just not interested in that. But that's fine. It's been nice getting to know you too. Yeah, a bit too. I mean, that's what life's about, right? Just getting to know people and forming relationships that are cool, and just being pals. That's what we need, more of that. Values authenticity. Yeah, I guess that's what you can call it. I just like keeping it real. What's wrong with that? That's another problem with the world. Everybody's fake, but that's like, I guess that's not a new thing. I mean, that's what The Catcher in the Rye was about, right? Hey, the phonies, the main character called everybody phony. But it's true, like, I know Chris Rock is, like, controversial because he got slapped by Will Smith. But I remember he made a joke where he was saying, when you meet somebody, you don't really meet the person. You meet their representative. You just meet their representative. When you see somebody on the internet, you don't really know them. You just know, like, you just know this perception of them, and I guess in a way that's good, because some people, you don't want to, like, expose all of who you are, I guess. And I guess it's fine to protect your identity and only show us. But that's not me. That's not me. I mean, when you see my videos, like, you see me. Like, there's nothing more to me than what you see in the video. Like, of course, like, you don't know. I mean, there's all types of things that you don't know about me, but all you get, just ask. I just that's the thing about me. Like, my YouTube channel, when you see Neil Trotter like that, this is who I am, really. This is not like, a perception of me, or like a false or some, like, unrealistic version of me, or, like, as you can see, like, I mean, based off of the quality of my camera and microphone and stuff, like, I'm not trying to put on a show, right? Yeah, just keep it real. There's lots of YouTubers out there who are like that, or like, and we got this word now. It's called parasocial, where people are, they're forming relationships with people. They're forming relationships with the representative of people, or the perception of somebody, and they're not really forming a relationship with the actual person, but they think they are, and so there's this parasocial relationship. But I guess that's, I'm happy to say that's not a thing with me. Like, there is no, like, parasocial situation. Right? If you want to talk to me or get to know, become my buddy, there's no, like, that's not a thing with me. Right? So there's that. I'm down with God. What are you reading at the moment? I'm reading, I'll show you before we go. before we head out. I'm going back to Nietzsche. I'm going back to the Nietzsche because I'm reading one of his greatest works on our genealogy and morals. We gotta make a video about that because, like, that's the missing piece of Nietzsche. I made several videos about Nietzsche, but I haven't done a video on the genealogy of morals. So we're going back to Nietzsche. I'm sorry, it is a dead white guy, and I know Nadia doesn't like that. But we did do the braiding sweetgrass, and now we got to go back to some dead white guys. Because at the end of the day, we do the old school philosophy. But don't worry, we'll go back to eventually. We're gonna return to some bell hooks. I mean that's gonna be a thing. You know, I went to a trip and I bought some bell hooks, a lot of bell hooks books. So I'll be doing that, and that'll help. That'll keep, a lot of my audience just comes to watch my videos because they're like, thank God, there's finally somebody who's talking about philosophy, but they're not just talking about white guys. Shit, I'm getting tired of that. I hear you. So, I like to mix it up. But, for now, we're doing the Friedrich Nietzsche. Okay, I'll show you the bell hooks books. I'll be right back. I got Communion, The Female Search for Love. Okay, we got that one. We got Salvation, Black People in Love. Yeah, got that one. And we got this one, Killing Rage, Ending Racism by Bell Hooks. We'll be doing a video. I'll be doing a video of all those three books for sure. But we gotta mix it up, Bell Hooks and Friedrich Nietzsche, two very different kinds of thinkers. That's the Black Ponderer, babe. We mix it up. That's another thing that I like to do with this chat. We like to diversify. We like to diversify. Bell Hooks is on my reading bucket list. Well, I do have, I think I at least have one video. Oh, I have two. I do have a few Bell Hooks videos. All About Love is one of them, and Feminism is for Everybody is another one. Check it out. Your reading taste is multifaceted. Oh, cool. You leave them for others to read. Well, the thing is, that's a good strat. But the thing is, for me, it's like, well, I like to. You got to be in the know too, right? Well, you don't have to. You can do whatever you want, but I like to be in the know. Like, I like to, if I want to, because there's a lot of people who are into Nietzsche. And a lot of people who are into Plato. So if I want to debate them and say well, they have these problematic ideas, it's like, well, you don't know, you never read them. And I'm like, well, actually, I have read them. Right? So I can tell you specifically that what they are about. And it's funny because a lot of fans of these people, they haven't even read. For example, there's a very. I always encourage people to check out Karl Marx because Karl Marx is, there's always this debate about communism versus socialism versus capitalism, and Karl Marx is at the crux of that debate. And if you read him, like, man, you'll just be so in the know in there. Like, people will bring arguments to you about that, and you'll just be like, well, Karl Marx said this, and they'll be like, uh-oh. There's so many people who are like fans of Karl Marx. They're like, oh, I'm a Marxist, and like they haven't read Capital, and it's like, it's like, well, I think you probably should read that. I know it's huge, but I mean, if you want to, I don't know. I think if you call yourself a Marxist, you probably should be you should read Capital. I don't know. Or like, yeah, there's just so many things, and so many people will argue. I mean, they'll ask me like, what should I read if I want to know about Karl Marx? And I'm like, well, why don't you read him? Like, what should I read? Capital. Like, read what he actually wrote. Like, then you'll actually then you'll know more about Karl Marx. Yeah, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Well, I don't know. Some people. It's funny, like, people will ask me that, like, man, I want to know more about Karl Marx. What should I read? Well, have you read Capital? No. I'm like, well, that's actually a good place to start because he actually wrote it. Like, so you're getting the information from the very person, like, instead of reading somebody's take of him, right? I don't know. I think those are very valuable. I guess they call that second, I forgot, second something philosophy. Where you read about people like other philosophers' takes on the philosopher, but I always say like, hey, just read the source material, right? Then you'll really know. But a lot of people think they don't have to do that. But it's up to you. Noam Chomsky, yeah, that's another person I'll eventually get to. I have some of his books too on my shelf. The thing I hate is that people don't read the original source materials. Yeah, and then they speak definitively as if they know the person. And so, like, the thing is, like, if you've read the source material and you're talking to somebody who's got a hot take about, like, well, I know because I've read. Well, they haven't read it. They're like, well, Aristotle said this. Like, no, he didn't. Well, how do you know? Because I've read The Republic. No, not The Republic. That's Plato. I've read Politics. Right? His work, The Politics. Like, oh, well, So that's why I would encourage you to just read for the sake of that. Where you got a lot of people who are like white supremacists or like misogynists or like homophobic people, and they'll say all this shit about philosophers, and it's like you don't know what you're talking about because you haven't even read them, even though they say like they have. So there's a lot of power in that, to just be like just call them on their bullshit. Like Nietzsche, there's a lot of people who are Nietzsche fans, but they haven't read any Nietzsche. They'll be like, God is dead, and it's like, well, have you ever actually read where that's from, the gay science? Right? No. Like, well, I think that's actually not accurate to what you're talking about. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, Stoicism for people who watch videos. Yeah. That's really a huge thing today, right? People call themselves Stoics, but they haven't read any Stoic material. Or maybe they read like the Meditations and that's it, which is like, which is me. Like, I don't call myself a Stoic, but because I haven't read the Stoic material. Now I can say like, oh, I think the Stoicism thing, I kind of like it. But then it's like, well, you should probably read Stoic works to make sure that you do like it, right? Because you might start reading it and you'll be like, oh, wow, actually there's all these problems in there. But you're not going to know unless you read it. But people are like, well, I've seen all these videos of Stoic. It's like, yeah, but you have no idea if these people are accurate or not. Right? And then ultimately it's like, well, I don't want to read it because it's hard. It's like, well, I mean, you shouldn't just not do things because they're hard, right? But I don't know. let's see. I'm gonna know though. Oh, that's cool. I trust your videos since you give direct quotes, but also I don't debate philosophy on my pastime. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. If you're like, it's kind of like me and Stoicism, right? That's one area where I have a whole huge hole in because I haven't really read the Stoics really. So if somebody wants to debate me about Stoicism, it's like, well, I mean, I can't really talk about that because I haven't read much about it. So, yeah, and I have no interest. Eventually, I'll read it, but what I know about Stoicism, I don't think I vibe very well with it. So I don't really have an interest in like debating people about Stoicism. So if it's like, well, you don't know because the Stoics said this, like, okay, I'll just take your word for it, man, because that's fine. Because so I see what you're saying there, where it's like, you know, somebody's like, well, the existentialists are saying this. Is like, okay, that's fine because I haven't really read existential. Like you say, Albert Camus. Albert Camus is awesome. That's another person I need to dive back into. There's so many dead white guys I need to. Albert Camus is one of them. Because I did The Stranger, but I got to do The Plague. I got to do The Myth of Sisyphus. That's another huge one. And I have those books on the shelf, but I just haven't gone to them yet. Have you read any David Graeber? No, I haven't. I have several friends who are really into David Graeber. So eventually I will borrow their books and go. But we got to read Bell Hooks before we read David Graeber, right? Because that Bell Hooks is not a white guy, so you gotta give some love to the non-white men, right? I'm just playing, but I'm kind of not though, right? Because we do need to give some more attention to other kinds of people, like indigenous, like the braiding sweetgrass people. Yeah, Camus pretty cool. Camus pretty cool. I definitely did. One of the videos that blew me up was the video I did on The Stranger. That definitely got me on Reddit posts. Yeah, Camus is great. So I will continue to read him. He's awesome. Well, I think we need to call it a day. Oops. I think I accidentally. Oh, okay. Let me close up here. Again, we went over our allotted time. we don't have a lot of time. The Plague. I know a lot of people read The Plague during the COVID-19 pandemic, which is funny because they're like, oh, this relates. I hear it actually like. It doesn't relate that much to the COVID-19 pandemic, which is kind of funny. But people tried to extrapolate that, which is funny. But yeah, we'll read that for sure. All right, guys, closing up here. Yeah, we'll see you next time. I think next time will be our. Every year we do an anniversary stream because I think we're approaching the 6-year anniversary. I mean, not 6-year, 11-year. I think it's going to be 11 years. And last stream we did some Gunpla, so I got this. We're gonna build another Gundam on the next stream as a celebration for I think 11 years on the channel. And this was a lot more intricate. This is Wing Zero from Gundam Wing, an anime I used to like as a teenager. And that'll be fun to do. I hope everybody has a better time this year. Oh yeah, yeah, and yep, we gotta do a book giveaway. I need to get on that. The book I'm actually giving away is gonna be Plato's Symposium. Because I actually read, I was planning to do a video on the Symposium, Plato's Symposium. I read that book, and I didn't get anything from it, which was crazy because everybody speaks very highly of that book. But I read it and I'm like, I'm just not seeing the hype. I don't what is so special about this? I'm not seeing it. We'll talk about that because a lot, people love that book, Symposium, Plato's Symposium. People love it. I read the whole thing. I'm like, huh? This is not. I'm not. What? I'm not getting any. I'm not getting anything from this book. It's one of the first times I've ever read a philosophy book and just not had anything to talk about. It's crazy. So I'm giving it away. People love it, so I'm sure some people will like it. But I'll see you then. That's next week. Okay, guys. Until then, take care. Bye bye. You've been watching the Black Ponderer. Tune in next time for more philosophical thought.